Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're cutting through the noise and looking at something that honestly feels a little strange to even talk about.
Right.
The Kansas City Chiefs and their mid-season slide. I mean, for a team that has basically defined what a dynasty is for the last 5 years, watching
Yeah.
them just fall apart tactically in that 22-19 loss to the Broncos, it offers some serious, almost painful lessons about what happens when your margin for error just vanishes.
It's probably the highest stakes analysis out there right now, especially if you're following the AFC race. I mean, we all remember that shaky 0-2 start.
Oh, yeah.
And then they bounce back to 5-3. Everyone kind of breathes a sigh of relief. But now, dropping these key games, the Bills, and now a divisional game to the Broncos, puts them at a really concerning 5-5.
And the numbers, they really don't lie about how bad it is. They're sitting ninth in the AFC, and this is the brutal part. They have lost head-to-head against every single one of the current wildcard teams.
Buffalo, the Chargers, and Jacksonville, yep.
Which is why the analysis we've been looking at says their margin of error has, quote, completely dissipated. I mean, they have to be almost perfect from here on out.
That's the word. Dissipated.
Wait, I have to stop you there. I agree it's bad, but is it truly dissipated? Or is that just, the dramatic language of sports reporting?
I mean,
This is still the Chiefs. They've got the best quarterback in the league. Can't they just, flip a switch?
that is the million-dollar question. But the breakdown of that Denver loss suggests the problems aren't about effort. They're structural.
Okay.
So we've pulled 3 performance stats that really show why the offense is stalling and why it's not some simple fix. We're going to unpack how the Chiefs, a team known for offensive genius, just willingly left yards on the field, handed their opponents a defensive blueprint, and totally lost their explosiveness.
All right, let's start with the first one because it's maybe the most baffling thing from the box score. The underutilization of efficiency. We're talking about Kareem Hunt.
It's a philosophical failure, honestly. Hunt, who everyone sees as the reliable backup, the handcuff for Isaiah Pacheco,
Right.
he got just 13 total carries in that game.
13 carries. How does a coaching staff, a staff known for its genius game planning, make a conscious choice to just bench efficiency like that? Because when he got the ball, he delivered.
He was so efficient. I mean, despite getting almost no work, he averaged 4.5 yards per carry, and he scored a touchdown. He was their best weapon on the ground, and it wasn't even close.
So what is it?
It links back to this entrenched habit. The Chiefs had a miserable start to this season running the ball, and it seems like they're psychologically just unable to commit to it, even when a guy is hot.
So they're prioritizing their scheme, what they want to be,
Exactly.
over what's actually working in the game, what they are right now.
Precisely. They left yards, they left consistency, right there on the field by not maximizing Hunt. The deep tactical insight here is, when your offense is struggling, you have to commit to the highest percentage play you have. By not leaning on him, they basically signaled to Denver, we don't believe in our run game.
And when you neglect your run game, you put this incredible burden back on your quarterback to create everything under pressure. Which brings us perfectly to the second key insight, the ingenious way Denver contained Patrick Mahomes.
All right. By not committing to the ground game, they set the table for Denver's D coordinator. The stat we're looking at is the pressure number. 18 pressures allowed in the game.
18 pressures. Okay, that sounds like a lot, but the analysis actually noted that for Mahomes, who, is famous for extending plays and has played behind some, let's say, middling offensive line,
That's the kind of way to put it.
that 18 is actually relatively low.
And that's fascinating, isn't it? Because if 18 pressures is just standard or even better than usual for them, that kind of implies the line actually did okay.
Right.
So does that shift the blame to Mahomes?
Well, it does raise a point about execution, but this is where the quality of the pressure was way more important than the quantity. And what's so interesting is that Denver didn't care about the quantity.
Right.
They turned those 18 pressures into 3 crushing sacks for 27 lost yards. It was a containment strategy. That was the genius of Sean Payton's plan.
And that difference is so crucial. Most defenses, when they see Mahomes, they rush to get the sack. They want that glory play, the tackle for loss. But Payton told his elite athletes to sacrifice that aggression for discipline, for containment.
So what does that mean exactly? Containment.
It means keeping him pinned inside the tackles. You force him to throw quick or, and this is key, scramble backwards, not sideways, where you can extend the play and find someone.
And the proof is right there in the stats. Mahomes had 1 carry for 3 yards the whole game. That image of him scrambling backward, unable to escape, that has to be terrifying for Chiefs fans. It's like watching a defense figure out kryptonite.
And this goes right back to the O-line's failure to adapt.
Yeah.
Maybe their block duration was decent, but they failed at pocket integrity. They couldn't adjust their pass protection to counter a strategy they knew was working. They just let Denver run the same blueprint again and again.
That's the huge takeaway here. Denver's approach paid off handsomely. The Chiefs now have to expect that this containment blueprint, sacrificing the risky blitz for just pure pocket discipline, is a tactic they're going to see a lot more often now that Denver brought it to light.
Absolutely. The league has the cheat code now. And if Mahomes is contained and he can't use his legs to make plays, he has to be able to hit the quick passes or, more importantly, the deep ball to make safeties back off.
Which, unfortunately for them, brings us to the third and final critical problem. The missing explosiveness, the deep ball woes.
Yeah, I mean, before these last couple losses, Mahomes was in the MVP conversation. But even then, there were reports noting his deep ball accuracy had been especially wayward this season.
And the Denver game just hammered that point home. Against the Broncos, Mahomes hit on just one of his 6 passing attempts that went 20 or more air yards.
1 for 6.
1 for 6. That's an unbelievable failure rate for a quarterback whose whole reputation is built on that deep bomb.
The one successful deep shot was to Tyquan Thornton. But that means 5 failures. 5 plays where the defense felt totally confident, just sitting on all the short and intermediate stuff.
Right.
So if you're a team that needs to stretch the field to open up space underneath, missing 5 of 6 deep shots just validates everything the defense is doing. It validates their containment strategy.
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just reinforces itself. The defense contains Mahomes because he can't escape, and they're comfortable with that because he's missing the deep throws anyway. The field basically shrinks from 100 yards down to 50.
That's the so what of it all. Mahomes will have to correct that deep ball inaccuracy and fast.
It's not just for fantasy stats. It's crucial to regain his offense's explosiveness. Without that vertical threat, every single drive is just this miserable grind against defenses that are getting more and more disciplined.
So let's tie these 3 things together because they're so clearly linked.
Yeah.
First, you have the Chiefs leaving points on the board by not using their efficient run game with Kareem Hunt.
Right.
That neglect puts all the pressure on Mahomes, who then runs into this brilliant new containment blueprint from Denver 18 pressures, 3 game-changing sacks.
And that containment only works because the offense has no vertical threat to scare them, evidenced by that disastrous 1 for 6 on deep balls.
These 3 tactical failures, they just completely explain why a team everyone thought was a Super Bowl lock is now sitting at a very precarious 5-5. The efficiency, the protection, and the explosiveness, they all failed in a chain reaction.
Yeah, it was an offensive performance that just wasn't good enough for a team with those kinds of aspirations. Not even close. And looking ahead, the challenge for them isn't just winning games. It's responding to this new reality that Denver exposed. The league knows how to play them now, manage the chaos, and the Chiefs will beat themselves.
So if other teams keep copying Denver's plan control Mahomes' mobility and shut down the deep shot at the same time, the Chiefs' offense has a fundamental identity crisis on its hands for the rest of the year.
Which brings us to the provocative question for you, the listener, to think about as the Chiefs try to salvage this season. What core change do they have to make first?
Do they adjust by finally fully trusting their efficient run game with Hunt? I mean, do they fundamentally change the structure of their offense to be more ground-based and take the pressure off the passing game?
Or, given their identity, do they try to force Patrick Mahomes to immediately change his habits? Rely on quicker throws, checkdowns to counter the containment, even if it goes against his very nature?
They have to find that one urgent fix because that margin for error really is gone. And that choice run reliance or quarterback habit change, that's going to define whether they're competing for a Super Bowl or watching the playoffs from home.